Hello and welcome to Startup Africa, the lively show that is broadcasted to you every Thursday on the Tuna Cheki YouTube channel. I'm your host, Pamelanga, and on this show we bring to you startup innovations that are shaking the African continent, followed by an exclusive entrepreneur interview you don't want to miss out. So let's get the show started, as usual, with our startup updates. Our first innovation of the week is the Kenyan company called Tutuski. They specialize in manufacturing assistive devices using technologies such as Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and software assistive development. This company is the brainchild of Anthony Mutugu. They don't only intend to create assistive devices, but they also want to create smartphones and earphones in the near future. And this will be Kenya's first production. Next on the list is a Nigerian company called Kunda Kids Studios. They make up a team of diverse illustrators, musicians, animators that come together for a common purpose: to inspire the next generation with African history and culture. From the creation of books to producing songs and animations, they make continuous effort to inspire and diversify children entertainment with a touch of African roots. Our last innovation is called Wire. Wire is a cross-border, cross-network remittance payment solution for Africa that aims to provide a digital banking platform that enables an easy and quick transfer of money across the continent. Founded by Ghanaian Delai Anku Adaima in 2018, the company has been quite profitable since December 2020 by making a pre-seed of $50,000 from angel investors. He has also been able to establish a partnership with Africa World, one of Africa's biggest airlines. That's it for this week's Startup Updates. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, don't forget to check out my show, Mindful Entrepreneur Podcast, in the links in the description box. Don't go anywhere because our interview is going to be quite the entertainment. We're going to have a special guest all the way from South Africa. She's a boss lady, a global speaker, and she has worked with one of the biggest brands in the world. I'm talking Volkswagen, okay? I'm not going to tell you her name. You're going to have to stay tuned to see how the interview goes. Hello guys, welcome to the second segment of Startup Africa. Like I told you, we have a very special guest today. We have a global speaker who has worked with one of the greatest names in the world. We're talking about Volkswagen. We also have a nominee, under 13 nominee for Forbes. Please welcome Zandele. Hi.
Hi there, Pam. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Oh, I'm great. So which part of South Africa are you calling from?
I'm coming from Durban, South Africa, on the south coast.
How's it going there? How's the weather? How's everything?
It's going well. It's nice and sunny. Usually it's quite sunny on this side of South Africa. So as normal, it's just an absolutely beautiful day. This side of South Africa is peaceful now. We've had some unrest quite recently, but we're doing good. Thanks.
That is great. As I was reading your bio, you have two amazing nicknames, the Unlearning Lady and the Unicorn Lady. Like, where does those nicknames come from?
Okay, cool. So the Unlearning Lady comes from a name that I was given by clients. It is basically speaking about the work that I do, which is helping clients to unlearn some of the stagnant, not so serving mindsets and ways around doing things. So that's where that one comes from. And then the other, Unicorn, basically just speaks to my personality. Often the review I get from clients is, "Oh my goodness, you're so energetic." Even though it doesn't feel like that on my side. It might just be because I'm a lot younger than some of the people in my space. But so that's where this unicorn comes from. Something different with a sprinkle of magic and completely new from what people have seen before.
That is fantastic. Somebody who is listening to this may be like, okay, what is this? How do I participate? How do I get some of this unicorn? How do I unlearn some of these mindsets? So what exactly do you do for individuals and businesses?
Cool. That's a very good question. So I'll split it into two, starting off with what I do for organizations. What I do with organizations basically is facilitating conversations that help to drive them forward. As they think about the future of work, I come in and I facilitate strategy sessions. I facilitate conversations about what trends are coming up in the future of work that they're going to need to start preparing for. But more importantly, and this is probably my favorite part, is the change and transition space. So helping them to put together systems that help them to change better? How do they sort of strengthen their change and transition muscles so they're better at adapting to a consistently changing world? That's basically what I do. My work can take the form of a keynote during a function. It could take the form of a facilitation of a strategy session, a workshop, a full-on consulting session as well. And then on the other side, for individuals, I work with young female, sorry to everyone else, young female professionals
Girl
that really
power.
want to, yes, girl power, that want to make kick-ass career moves, as I often call them. So anyone who's in the corporate space and is going, I want to make sure that I'm future ready as someone who's in the workplace. I want to make sure that I'm keeping myself relevant, keeping myself flexible and adaptable, so that in 20 years' time, I'm not lying in bed going, oh my goodness, how did I get here? But I take control of my career and I'm very strategic about the moves that I make so that I'm always moving forward.
Yeah. So, what are those things for an entrepreneur that should be looking at when they want to make those changes? What are those things that you teach your clients? Like, okay, in order for you to be ready for this change, you have to do X, Y, Z.
Cool. So there are a bunch of different things, and I have a model called the Leap framework, and this particular framework is free to download. Well, the have a cheat sheet with this framework, and it gives tools and strategies that people can download off of my website. But I think the most important things for me, Pam, is the first one is track, track, track. I always say just keep track, especially if you're an entrepreneur. The great thing about entrepreneurship is that there is that nimbleness in your business model. It's not like a large corporate where it's harder to turn the ship around. It's harder to make decisions around signing off on certain things. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're in a startup, a smaller, medium enterprise. It's so much easier to shift things around. So taking advantage of that. And then the first thing really is track, track, track. Track the trends that are happening in your in your industry, in your sector, in your role specifically. If you're an individual, understand what some of the big names are that are coming up. Who's now playing in this field? What are the big things influencing what's happening? So that's the first thing. And then the second thing for me that's really, really important, along with tracking, is working on ourselves, working on your adaptive capacity, especially as startups. In what ways are you self-disrupting? Instead of waiting for the world to disrupt you, how are you consistently making sure you're changing things around, you're shifting, you're playing around with different people in different roles, you're outsourcing, you're playing around with all of these different models. And on an individual's in an individual space, this would look something like changing things up in your own environment. Often when I speak to people, I ask the question, how long has your bedroom been set up in the same way? And answers I get are like 10 years. And yet we want to go into the workspace and be flexible and adaptable. But in our own personal lives, we don't necessarily apply all those things. So those for me are the two big things necessary to apply.
Now I know why you're being nominated for the Forbes Under 30. Please, just like, how does that even feel? Because that's like an entrepreneur, that's like the Grammys for an entrepreneur to be nominated for that. And so, how does it feel? How did it happen? At what stage are you at right now?
Cool. So at the moment, we are at the nomination phase where you can start nominating individuals for the list. And in Africa, or under the region of Africa, we get 30 different nominees. So the way that people can nominate is go over to the Forbes 30 Under 30 page at the 2022 nomination site or landing page, and then just plonk in my name and my details that are found on my website. But otherwise, yeah, you're quite right when you say it is a bit like the Grammys for entrepreneurs, which is
Yeah,
really
Grammy.
exciting. And so it's just one of those things that we just are so honored by. I think definitely it's such a big honor to have that privilege, and also to know the impact that that has a chance of making. That for me is the biggest thing. It's about the impact that this can definitely make in the lives of so many people, but then also in mine.
I hope you're proud because you've told me that you've done this for a year. Like you started being really, really serious about this during the hardest year of anybody last year. And it's, yields something you're being nominated. So I hope you're like,
I am. Trust.
there's like a sprinkle of happiness over here. um,
Definitely.
there is a program that is coming up.
confidence program. Can you let us know how that's going to happen, and anybody who's interested, what that person should be expecting?
Cool. So this is specifically, like I said before, for my young female professionals. I do have males that come onto this course as well, but specifically it's tailored for young female professionals who just want to make kick-ass career moves, as I call it. And basically it's an online video course. You go onto my website, it is up there. You can also sign up on my link tree that's up on my Instagram bio, and get started on the journey. There are a lot of really great bonuses, including getting one-on-one time with myself to have these conversations and to help you set up a strategy for your career in the coming year so that you know where you're going, what your goals are, and how you're actually going to smash them. Because too many young professionals go into the workplace and just go, oh, let's see where it goes. And I think the time for that is over. We need to start taking control.
Yes, you need to start taking control if you want to be nominated for Forbes. Okay. So if
Yes.
Zanella is telling you do XYZ, do it. Okay. All right. I thank you so much for coming in for this show, Zanele. Anybody who's interested for any of Zanele's services, you can check out her website. Everything will be in the description box. I'm ready to unlearn these wrong things and be, sprinkled by the magic of the unicorn lady. I was sprinkled. I hope you enjoyed the interviews, Zanele.
I did. Thank you so much for having me, Pam.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Startup Africa. You can support our series by becoming a member of our YouTube channel and our Patreon member. Also, you can check out our website, tunacheki.tv, to purchase any of our merchants. I'm your host, Pamelanga. See you next time, same place. And remember, Africa is always one.